You won't believe this, but I'm just hitting record, and I'm having lunch, or trying to have lunch peacefully without any distractions in my mind. But my mind is racing right now because I feel like I'm falling short of an expectation of getting my reflections. You heard that? My reflections recorded and uploaded, when clearly it is about reflecting. And here I go again, putting unrealistic expectations on myself, trying to do everything, yet doing nothing at all. Sometimes I like to say it this way: sometimes we can do so much that we do nothing at all. It's not like anybody's pressuring me to get my reflections out. I mean, everything that I promised everyone is already up. The self-mastery, meditation, and devotional pieces, they're up. So the real question for me right now in this moment, as I try to enjoy my lunch, but I'm not, because I feel like I'm behind. Behind on what? No one's waiting for this. These are my reflections. These are my thoughts. So I really have to take a look at this. And this is not one of those situations where you put it on your shoulder so you can keep it in your mind later. This is not one of those situations. This is an emergent situation. This is something that I need to take a look at. And when I say take a look at it, it doesn't necessarily mean to beat myself up or to make myself feel unworthy or less than, because that really was what the focus scripture was about today in 1 Peter 2:9. It was reminding those who are part of the way, the little Jesuses, or little Jesus, little Christ Christians, who were in exile. They were in exile. They were separated from their network. People who would encourage them, people who would pat them on the back, people who would tell them to keep going. People that would normally encourage them, they weren't there anymore. So one must assume that the writer said, this is a people who is discouraged. This is a people who have faced trauma after drama, after trauma, after drama. And I'm sure some of them want to throw in the towel, and I'm sure some of them want to give up and say, this is too much, or I've had enough. I don't think that this is too much, or I've had enough, or unfamiliar places for those who have been on their spiritual journey for quite some time. Sometimes we get tired. Sometimes we get depressed. Sometimes we get lonely. Sometimes we feel isolated. Sometimes we feel guilt. Sometimes we feel anxiety. Sometimes we feel like failures. We feel a lot of things. And that's why when 1 Peter 2:9 speaks to the people, and I believe that this message, even though it comes from an ancient but relevant book, it still speaks to us today, and on multiple levels. I just really wish I had time to unpack everything, but I really don't. So what's the rush, I know part of what it is, it's I know that every day we all get a day closer to our ending. And I wrote a book called Living Life, Leaving Legacy. The reality is no man or no woman, boy, girl, knoweth the day or the hour. But every day, now that I have a sense of awareness and I can acknowledge that and accept that, not in a morbid way, but in a real way, that someday will be my final day. And so my thoughts every day have been really, did I do all I can? Have I given everything that I can? Have I said everything that I could say? Have I loved everyone that I could love? Have I forgiven everyone that I can forgive? I want to know that, did I maximize without compromise? I guess none of that really matters. What matters is right now, today. For yesterday is gone and tomorrow is yet to come. All I have is today. So, I agree with the writer in 1 Peter 2:9, because I must imagine that someone must have said to him, we're rejected. We feel like no one's really with us because we're in exile, we're away from the people we know. Not only that, but the people who we're with are treating us like, So they said we don't belong, we don't feel like we belong. We're rejected on every hand. And so in 1 Peter 2:9, it comes back and it says, but you are chosen people. I get what you're saying. He says, I get what you're saying, but we are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. Now, if you read above that and you begin really at the first verse, you see where the writer begins to exhort them and remind them of who and whose they are. Because they literally felt like trash. I'm sure you heard the saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. The good news is that what man rejects, God accepts. And that's so powerful to me for so many different reasons. And I've been in that space. I've been in that place. In fact, I'm there now. But I believe that it has nothing to do with the individuals who separate themselves from you or distance themselves because of who you are, what you've done. It really is about God getting you all along. No distractions, no other voices, just his. See, it's easier to hear his voice when you are not entertaining their voice, sis. And sometimes aloneness is necessary, and I try to explain to people, aloneness and loneliness are two different things. Aloneness is not a request of God. It is a requirement. Another thought that I had, because it's difficult because when you're in leadership, and we know that leadership is about influence and everything rises because of leadership, but it's that influence. And in order for you to have influence, you have to have integrity, but you can't truly have integrity unless you have a good character and a good reputation. I wish I had more time to talk about this because I've made so many mistakes. This is the only reason why it makes me the expert. You know, it's our experience that makes us the expert. I've screwed up so many times in these two areas that by me sharing how I got it wrong and what I didn't do right, my hope is that you would do it right. So this is why I WRITE, so that you can get it RIGHT. See, reputation is what others think about us. It's easy sometimes to say, I don't care what people think, but we do. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't spend so much time making ourselves up and making stuff up on Facebook. We would be definitely living our, not just best life, our most holy life. But the reality is we all have a little people pleaser in us, even if the people is you. Somebody gonna get that on the way home. You're still a people pleaser. So the reputation is the external, what people see. And they're gonna see all kinds of things. Some people are gonna like you, some people are not gonna like you. You're gonna get all kinds. What's important is to know who and whose you are. As 1 Peter 2:9 outlines, talks about this rejected cornerstone and how it was rejected and how it was overlooked, but it was the very thing that they needed. That's why it's important for us to overcome. That's why it's important for us to maintain a good reputation. And character, by the way, is who we are when no one else is looking. So reputation is who we are when they see us, and character is who we are when no one's looking. And it should be identical, but the reality is not everything's going to be identical. That's a reality. But there still should be some integrity about who you are. So that way, when something happens or something comes up, it would at least draw a question in someone's mind and say, like we say in New Orleans, oh no, baby, not him. Oh no, baby, not her, huh? I had to do that for my people at home. I ain't playing no, you better stop, yeah. So, if you're ever in a place or you're ever in a situation, and I had no idea that this would be my recording time, but there were so many thoughts about why am I rushing to get my thoughts and my journey and my reflections out when there's no timetable, there's no pressure. I've already delivered what I said I would deliver to the people. This is about me. So I can slow down and remember that I'm chosen, not frozen, royal, not rotten, holy, not holy. You want me to say that again? Okay, you got it. God's special possession, certified by God. For whom he calls, he qualifies. For the gifts of God are without repentance. He has redeemed us. He has sanctified us. You just got to know who you are, and you have to begin to make these your affirmations and proclamations every day, because there's so many different things that's going to make you question who and whose you are. It's going to make you question your journey as a Christian, as a Christian. It's going to make you even doubt your own sanity sometimes. But here's what we know. Thinking about you it's not selfish. This time of meditation, this time of reflecting, this is not being about selfish. But in the process of not being selfish, we learn to be selfless. But it starts with self, and that's why we say self-mastery, because it begins with a transformed mind. I'm going to close with this thought because my lunch is cold now. But my hope is that you'll read the entire chapter and listen to what the writer says the people are. The most important thing for me that stands out at this time is the fact that we are considered to be stones that were necessary, but were rejected because it wasn't perfect. It wasn't what people desired or what they expected. So they were looking for something else, something different, someone different who didn't have a blemish, who didn't have a spot. They were looking for perfection. I need to turn this inward and outward. That's what I hear the Spirit saying. Let's start here with relationship, because I think I'm open to the idea. I'm very open. That's the whole idea where, God, he says it's not good for us to be alone, and he sent people to help us. And, that's what's missing right now. The reason why I'm trying to do all these things and put unrealistic expectations when there is clearly no deadline, clearly, no demand for my, watch this, reflections. That's for me, clearly. Yet I'm putting these unrealistic expectations. That's why I believe having, and I'll never say that I never had it, because even my last relationship, that helped me balance everything. No matter what, ups and downs, Thank you. You know who you are. Everybody else, it ain't your business. But that's what's missing, that balance, because I don't know how to stop. I want to keep going. My brain wants to not just succeed, but to accomplish. It's not just about success for me. It's about making a goal, reaching a goal, and it's this continuous process that I put these unrealistic expectations. So having someone in your life, I know, who's not going to be there to looking to be complete, not looking to compete, but looking to complement, to say, slow down, you're moving too fast, or take a break. These types of relationships are important, and it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. It can be, just someone who would say, just take a look at it. I'll put this on your shoulders so you can put it on your mind later. We need those authentic relationships. So it's important. I almost forgot what I was talking about, because I can go in tangents, but I know having a person in your life is necessary. I need to go back over my checklist. I don't know about you. I need help. Because my mind wants to sit here and do all of my reflections. That's supposed to be a daily reflection. What's the point of it being a daily reflection? And I'm struggling not to do it, so I guess I'll go back and play Mortal Kombat. Thank you for listening.